All right, so we are rolling. Greetings, greetings, greetings. That's you, Scorpio. This is Tarot Lumination with your general report, spiritual perspective, May 2018. Okay, you've done this before, you know the drill. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, especially if they're each different. Okay, and then you can reinterpret the whole thing to suit yourself. It's your reading. Okay, this is my gift to you. So cards are already well shuffled in advance before we even roll, and there's no jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry, there's not enough time or space. And I love the cards. They were originally painted. I don't like to look at art upside down. So there you go. Before we get into this, please give me a moment. I've been doing this with every sign for all the reports, including all the love and relationship reports. Remember, this is generic. This is general, broad perspective. If you want love and relationship, there's a whole other playlist. Here's the news. Scorpio, it's May 2018. These are just my personal little doodles to help me get through the conversation. We're going to put you on the horizon right there. Scorpio, sun or moon or rising. Okay, so there you are. And we're going to look at just the core essentials here for you in May. The first thing, just want to mention, is for the first couple of weeks of May, you're coming out of the Taurus Scorpio full moon here that occurred in your first and seventh house of a significant relationship. On April 29th, right at the tippy end of April, and that's going to have a hangover effect or like a ripple effect for the first few weeks. And then early May, well, actually the middle of May, this is when the big deal happens. This is a big deal for the whole planet, affects everybody, and it is the Taurus energy. It is the big shift, May 15th, when we get the massive Taurus new moon, and Uranus moves into Taurus simultaneously. That's a big deal, okay, for everybody. But it is an exceptionally big deal for you, Scorpio. Why? Because it's landing in your seventh house of significant relationship. This is not a love reading, okay? But there's no question about it. It's going to, all these energies are going to directly impact your most significant primary relationships, you and the significant other. And it is on that date, May 15th, where the action begins. It's the opening of the front door to a 7-year journey, okay? A 7-year journey through your seventh house. All right, so that's kind of a big deal. Now, also at the moment, we still have Jupiter and Scorpio here, okay? So that's a lot of heavy-duty energy for you regarding your most significant relationships right now. And that's just how it is. I'm not going to interpret this for you guys. I'm just giving you information. It's a big deal. Your significant others. Also, of course, May in general, Taurus energy in general constitutes your seventh house in general. So you might be getting a lot of sensation of culmination and new beginnings. Culmination with that fat full moon, April 29th, and new beginnings, May 15th. And then by the end of the month, everything was going to shift again because it's going to go into the Gemini energy. All right. So for now, let's just focus on May. Enough said. All right. It's enough for now. And let's just focus on the tarot. Okay. So there we go. I'm trying to keep it neutral. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to encourage you or make it feel like everything's more wonderful than it is. It's just energy, and it's always up to you, Scorpio, making your conscious, loving decisions about what is the most loving thing for you. We're going to use the heart spread you're going to see in just a moment. All right? And we're going to focus on the love. Ultimately, it's all about the healing power of love here at Tarot Lumination. You might have figured that out already. And as far as we're concerned, love is virtually synonymous with healing. So let's have a look. We're going to split it up first, okay? Big splits. I really want to break up the deck here for you guys, okay? And then we're going to read. Please invite your angels. Tarot Illumination kind of works as a team effort here, TL angels and all that. So here we go. This would be your heart energy at the very core of you. Your heart knows what it needs. Your heart knows what it wants. And it's up to you, conscious awakening Scorpio, to listen. Okay? Feed the heart. Love yourself, love the heart, because everything comes from there. Every breath that you take comes from there. You can't breathe without a pulsing heart, okay? I know a lot of people focus on their breathing for health and everything, but I take it down to the heart, the very, very core of you, okay? So this energy is pulsing all day, every day, to the moment of conception, to the moment you drop, okay? So listen, okay, Scorpio? Now, what are you bringing in with you? I call this legacy energy, history, baggage. What's in your backpack? What's in your pockets? What have you been living through over these last few months or longer? How are you dealing with Jupiter in Scorpio? It's a heavy retrograde right now. Are you integrating everything of all the good fortune that would have landed in your lap in terms of awareness and growth, of your new identity unfolding and growing? Who knows? So over here is the ever present now, which for a lot of people is very hard to handle because it means having to be completely present. And it's much easier to lean on the past and, let's say, give away all your power to the status quo and just say, well, that's just how life is. And then from there, anything that sucks, you can say, well, it's just how life is. And then you can use the past as the platform to project your future. And you can say, well, I know my future sucks because my past sucks. Or I'm going to change my future forever because my past sucked. But you're not actually focusing on the now. This is the now, okay? So where are we exactly right now? Okay, that's where you own your power, and your power is owned and executed through the healing power of your decisions over here. So how do we execute those decisions in a way that is most loving for you, Scorpio? Because that's what's most loving for the whole planet. The most important thing, love thyself, okay? Treat it as a daily practice. Then that would bring consequences, okay? Now, if you're constantly outsourcing your life to other things or other people or destiny or fate, then this energy would feel more like fate here. In other words, if you prefer to do anything to stay away from the now and the present and abdicate your decision making privileges, so be it. It's your choice. It's a choice. You can choose to disempower yourself if you want to. I'm not going to encourage you one way or another. It can be very challenging to stay present, okay? That's where your power lies. So let's just say you're having a good day. What happens when you're making really loving, healthy decisions moment by moment? How does that look for you? Let's say you're having a really rough day, even if your best efforts, how does that look, when you're losing your power? Okay. It's the same energy. It's the question. One is the positive, one is the shadow expression. Okay. And the momentum, how does that lead us into the next beat of the heart? Okay, you're always creating new life, new energy every time you nurture or starve the heart from what it needs. Okay, so how does that look? Next, we're going to look, hold on. Can you see that heart shape here? Okay, please indulge me. Please see the heart there, and please treat this as the very core, like where the nerves actually connect into your heart. Pumping out the nutrients that you need in your life and pumping away the wastes out into the waste system so that you can live a healthy life. Okay, let's have a look. Circumstantial energy, the weather, you, Scorpio, like the rest of it, are going to make the best of it, okay, by decree. We're just going to say that, all right? So you have the Hermit. So with the Hermit, to me, it's telling me that this is like the feeling of what it's like to be you, and then there's a significant other, and how so much of your life you still have to figure it out on your own, no matter what's going on with a significant other. Your life is yours, okay? And it's wonderful to merge into another and share resources with other, which is very scorpionic. And it's very, very important to live through that yearly chapter, especially every year when this happens for you, Scorpio, when you're coming to the point of maximum polarity, maximum opposition, where you can see the very, very best outcomes of your decisions and all the very worst outcomes of your decisions. That's what happens when you reach the 7th house, 6-month roughly pattern through your yearly cycle of you being you. Now it's all about the other. What is that is going on in a significant other that is being reflected back to you that you need to know? And my feeling is what's happening is that there's a very loud message that you need to be very much you. It's very much all about, it isn't all about what people I think of as romantic love, where everybody gets all gooey and you fall into each other's arms and everything's wonderful, okay? You're very, very vulnerable in those situations. It's also can be the most satisfying, rewarding, loving experience that you could ever know on this planet. However, you still have to remember that you're an individual, and outcomes depend on you taking full ownership of the self, becoming your own guiding light from the inside out, not waiting or allowing others to own that energy over you. So this might be looking like an uncomfortable card, but needs to be recognized that circumstantially this energy might be getting reflected back to you. Okay? And also it might be an indication that regarding this seventh house energy here, since it's such an important part of your life, uh, to allow others to be themselves as well on their own unique journeys, okay? And you can share the journeys, okay? But you are still you and they are still themselves, okay? Now, did I even use this note already? I've been very absent-minded. I think I did. I think we already mentioned this. This is going to be, because Uranus is moving in here, Uranus is moving into Taurus, there's going to be a lot of random, like earthquakes, shakings, radical, like what I would call jolts and shifts and shakes, and surprises happening in your most significant relationships, which is going to have a direct impact on you and your sense of identity of self, okay? So there's no way we can predict this simply because it's Uranian energy. But it is the energy of spontaneous miracles, spontaneous awakening, and essentially the core theme is that heaven wants you to wake up, Scorpio, take things to the next level, and Uranus is there to help you, okay? All right, let's have a look. What's going on at the heart of you? Okay. Nine of Cups. Maybe it's just like you're doing something right and you figured out how to be happy from the inside out, and you own that, and you can do whatever you want with that. It's literally like having almost like an infinite supply of funds, as though this is less like an endless line of credit when it comes to love. You can share this infinitely, uh, even though it's yours, but you have to own it from the inside first. And your heart is reminding you, please, dear Scorpio, remember to own that from the inside out first, okay? Just your heart reminding you, we need to own this from the inside out first before we give it away to others or expect others to enjoy this from us. We need to own this, okay? So let's keep making it happen. We're doing a good job already, okay? That's what I feel here for you, Scorpio. And the heart is happy to oblige. So it feels to me that the heart is very aware that you, Scorpio, are doing everything you can to the best of your abilities to figure this out, how it works and how it's going to happen. Let's have a look. Legacy energy, what are you bringing in with you? Whoa, okay. So this is obviously very clearly related to the seventh house here. This is not a love and relationship reading, but it's impossible to ignore this. You're bringing in, it's almost like you've just landed here. Pretend this is a private reading with tarot illumination. We started off like this, and we're talking general stuff, and then we get this thing unfolding, and I'm looking at you and I'm going, uh-oh, we're dealing with heavy duty, very serious love and relationship dynamics here. And we're not going to turn it into a love reading where we can talk about relationship here, where it's very, very evident. It's almost like you're very shyly and very meekly and very humbly, very, very privately coming to the desk of tarot illumination and saying, excuse me, TL, I've got some very, very big stuff happening in my life right now, and it seems to be very much to do with significant relationships, especially a significant other. I just needed to let you know. So, because we're going forward from here, what happens now? And then Tarot Illumination says, well, you've come to the right place. Are you staying in the present, dear Scorpio? Let's have a look. Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, culmination, culmination, culmination here. This might be very, very much to do with the full moon on April 29th and how that is shaping up for you in the first couple of weeks of May. In other words, it's very, very obvious, very, very evident in your life, in your world right now, that one of the biggest themes is the significant relationship. And it is front and center. It is the number one issue in life right now, to the point where this might be a number one issue theme for a long time to come. This is a very significant indicator of I'm not saying like what I would call true love here, but a very, very significant dynamic between yourself and a significant other. And it is a culmination. My feeling here is that the world card, is representing the culmination of what you're noticing in the early stages of May. And how is that going to percolate down through the next 2 weeks as the moon moves from the Scorpio position at the end of April all the way over to here at the middle of May, May 15th, where we have this massive Taurus new moon aligned with the Uranus and Taurus energy. This is a huge doorway to a brand new world that is opening for you. So in some ways, it's very much a big deal calendar moment for you, for all Scorpios. It is the end of one way of being and the beginning of a whole new way of being when it comes to significant relationships. And there's no going back. Okay? And it's also very deeply, let's say, ordained. You have to understand, like, however this is working out for you in person in detail, this is how it is. There's no other way. Everything is exactly as it should be. Why? Because it can't be any other way. Laws of physics, okay? Laws of the universe. So this is very, very evident. You've got this on your plate. It's right there right now, to the point where you might be quaking in your boots, realizing through the reflection of a significant other that you are like at the doorway, the portal of a whole new life and a whole new world when it comes to significant relationship. I'm not going to say love relationship, but the most significant relationships in your life, in your world, even if that includes a significant loved one, like a spouse, a dear, your lover, your live-in mate, your the most significant one-on-one relationship for you. So that's a big deal. That's kind of a lot to carry on your shoulders, in your mind, in your body, in your heart, in your soul. So what about your decisions? Like almost like it's almost like, where do we go from here? What are we going to do with this? Okay. So with the Three of Swords here, what might be, to me, this is an indication that you need to be very, 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 very clear and understanding that you're probably going to need help. Okay, as things evolve and grow, as you discover that there's you, all right, like there's you, there's a significant other, and there's like the issues between you guys. Okay, I don't want to read a lot of tragedy into this regarding love and relationship, but there's obviously a certain element of tragedy here which has to be acknowledged and faced when you're making your decisions. What are you, Scorpio, going to do? How are you going to carry yourself in the moment, in the present, in the now, when it comes to big decisions regarding that aspect of your life? Okay, if there's something tragic going on, it needs to be acknowledged full face on, uh, when and why and how and where you're making these decisions, so that you are not owned by this. Okay, this needs to be, this is like a check engine light on your car going beep 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 beep, saying, please remember, dear Scorpio, every decision that you make is life critical right now when it comes to the love in your life, the healing power of love, as it like grows and expands through the healing power of your decisions. In other words, your happiness is absolutely critical. Your internal happiness that you own, right, is absolutely critical, life critical, on how you relate to the significant other and how the significant other relates to you, to the point where you have to be very cautious and, if necessary, get third party perspective. Also, if there's some kind of triangulation going on here between you and a significant other, and there's another party involved, it needs to be understood and acknowledged and factored into your decision making protocols. All right. So don't be scared by this. Please treat this as a very powerful indicator that every decision counts. Okay. So in other words, so that you don't get hurt and you don't hurt others. You don't hurt them. They don't hurt you. And there's no deliberate hurt to others. Of course, there's a potential for pain, but needs to be accounted. You need to account for all parties, not just yourself. Okay, you do need to love yourself first, but understand that there can be side effects that might be unwelcome. All right, because of you loving yourself first, but because of the decisions that you're going to make to love yourself. In other words, there might be consequences to others. That's not your business, but they might not appreciate it, or it might not go down well. So how are we going to do this very, very delicate, but very life critical, love critical, happiness critical decision making process in a way that works for you? Okay, you basically come from the point of abundance. Realize always before you make the decisions, please understand how incredibly lucky you are to even have this opportunity in the first place. Okay, you're going to face these challenges, whatever they are. Maybe you're dealing with a mate who has challenges inside themselves in their own love life and their own relationships, which need to be accounted in the way that you relate to a significant other. But always, please understand that you are extremely fortunate to even be here and that you have a lot to give and a lot to share. And this is the evidence of love. To me, this is an indication that it's not to be wasted. The amazing gifts the gift that you've had here that you've already built for yourself in your life, and the potential that for anything and everything that could go wrong, is that there is, in other words, there's a lot at risk here for your Scorpio in terms of like what I would call the winnings and the losses. So it's very, very important to always acknowledge, please, like, you're a very lucky Scorpio. You're a very wealthy Scorpio. You're a very happy Scorpio. You're a very blessed Scorpio. You're a very loving Scorpio. You're a very deeply loved Scorpio. And that's money in the bank for you, okay? If you think of love as an asset, okay? As love is, as love does. In other words, it's very, very important that the love isn't like theoretical or hypothetical. It's love is as love does, where love is the willing decision to extend yourself above and beyond your own comfort zone to spiritually nurture the growth and healing, spiritual growth and healing of your significant other. Okay, and for yourself too, of course. So you develop consequences. Consequently, it looks like a lot of pain and suffering will be revealed that needs to be healed, because this is the end of the suffering and it's about time for you, Scorpio, but it's also the beginning of the healing as well. A lot of healing. It looks like a lot of healing is required and it's on the way for you, and it's probably going to happen in the context of a very significant relationship. Luckily, you have the assets and the ability and the wealth and the good fortune to handle that, and it will, it means, to me, this looks like a lifetime of self-healing that is coming towards you, that's probably going to be triggered in the context of this of a relationship dynamic here. So what happens if you're having a really rough day managing this very significant dynamic here? How are you going to handle what happens if you mess up? Okay, you end up impoverished, completely, like, ruined, and you lose it all. Okay, now when you take into account the challenges here, and you understand how fortunate you are, and you use your knowledge and wisdom and everything that you're learning on the journey, especially over these next 7 years. I know this is just for May, but the reality is, in some ways, this has a very huge long-term trajectory in terms of the story that's being told here. So it needs to be stated. I feel obliged to state it here. And so, in other words, this is your own personal private journey, but it's happening in the context of your most significant relationship, even the love relationship, where what I would call one way of life is now completely over, history forever, and a whole new way is beginning. And it's almost like starting from scratch again, where all the deepest wounds that have never been discovered or known before are finally going to eventually be brought to the surface for long-term healing. That's what I feel here as an opportunity. I know this some ways looks kind of tragic, but also it's very beautiful because the doorway is opening to radical new shifts and changes that can work for you. So long as you understand how lucky you are and you're willingness to share your good fortune. So when you do make very, very cautious decisions about what's happening in the love life, what happens is you can face the whatever it is that was leaving you left out in the cold, literally impoverished in mind, body, heart, and soul. This is what has the chance to be healed, okay? By by identifying all these issues, by understanding all the pain and suffering that has gone on and that will continue to bubble up in the surface like one sliver at a time. It's almost like as the earthquakes happen at the heart level through this 7-year journey, it represents one of these swords. And each time that comes up, it's a very, very painful, delicate issue, which can be healed because you have the talents and the gifts. And all the sense of impoverishment can be exposed and basically turned around. Okay. In other words, if you screw up and you get lazy, on your responsibilities and relationship, this becomes worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. When you listen to the warning signs and pay very close attention and apply the healing power of love by executing the healing power of your decisions, then this becomes exposed and has now the opportunity for healing. Okay, so over here, what about the momentum? Okay, yeah, this is very encouraging. The thing is, what it feels to me like here with the Knight of Wands is that this is kind of a very difficult message for you to hear, Scorpio, but you need to hear it, and somebody had to tell you. It's probably better that you hear it from someone like Tarot Lumination, where it's not personal, it's just like a little video on a YouTube channel. And then you can incorporate this, understand that there is a method, that there is a process, that there is a formula here, and it's very, very much based on making the loving decision, knowing how fortunate you are, being acutely aware of anything and everything that's not working in the love department, in the significant relationship department, and deliberately revealing it for healing. So all of the impoverishment of heart can be now have healed. And once you learn that it is a formula, it is literally a formula, like a process, deliberate activating process, then it becomes something that you can really, you can run with this. You can make this part of your daily practice. The Knight of Wands, you can do this like with the enthusiasm and the spirit and the passion that it's going to require to keep this going. Because it looks to me, Scorpio, that you're actually going to be quite challenged here in this dynamic, and that somehow you're going to need the sense of strength and courage in order to carry on in the face of such potential adversity. So, and how does that affect you? Because you have to love from the core first of all here. But what's happening for you in May has huge, like huge consequences in this part of your life for the significant other. It's going to be full of like shock and awe surprises, amazing awakenings one moment, and shocking realizations the next moment. And it's going to be on and off, very unpredictable over the next 7 years. Certain things can be predicted. For example, every time there is a strong lunar transit through the Taurus energy, you might get this energy triggered here. This might set off alarm bells. Every year, as the sun comes around into this side of your chart, like it is right now, you might get very loud alarm bells about what is not working in that part of your life. Every time, for example, Venus goes around there, you might feel it, or whatever. And all I'm suggesting here is think of this as a clock, and we're on a huge life-changing moment. May 15th is a huge calendar moment, especially for Taurus people, especially for Scorpio people. All right, so let's make that known. Okay, so don't be scared of this. Don't be scared of this. Don't be scared of this. Treat these as markers and awakenings, knowledge and information that you need to know about. You cannot bury this stuff. It has to be acknowledged. It has to be dealt with. And you have more than enough gifts and talents and resources to handle it. Once you learn and improve that, the better it gets. And you can actually do this, live through this experience with great enthusiasm and passion, which fosters more love, okay? Think of this as a formula to grow love in a very challenging situation, okay? All right, that's enough. I'm not going to say anything more. You can reinterpret however you want. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, and also watch for your significant others. And if you want actual love relationship readings, there's a whole other playlist. All right, bye-bye. All the best, Scorpio. Bye-bye.